Hello there. Let's take a quick tour of the main features of this tool called PYNT, which is short for Python Interactive. So let's pop over to Emacs and bring up some Python code here. And let's start PYNT mode on this Python code here. What we see here immediately is a Jupyter notebook pop open to the right-hand side here, and we're popped back over to the Python code. Now the first command that we're going to type in PYNT mode is Control-C, Control-S. And we're asked to select the active code region here. So PYNT is a tool that lets you select regions of code and dump them into Jupyter notebooks. So the first region that I'm gonna choose to dump over is this last option here, this NS, short for namespace, is equal to AST server. This refers to all the code that's outside of any function. So it's all the code that I just highlighted right there and at the bottom. So now that we've selected the region, let's type Control-C, Control-E to actually send that code over to the Jupyter notebook and evaluate it. So one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type PYNT scroll mode here, activate this. So as we traverse through the code buffer, the Jupyter notebook is scrolled there on the right-hand side. So we can see, for instance, if we arrow down over to this variable assignment line here, the server is equal to something line here, we have the corresponding cell here. And we can inspect this variable. We can see what attributes it has. Maybe we're interested in the timeout attribute. So let's open up a code cell right above, and let's inspect that attribute maybe. It looks like it's none, but let's just verify that it actually is. Cool, it is. And we can kill this cell here and pop back over to the code buffer and keep scrolling around. So that was the region of code outside of any function definition. What happens if we're interested in the code region in a function definition? So for example, what about this function here called parse namespaces? Let's see what it might look like to send this code region over to the Jupyter notebook. So let's type Control-C, Control-E again to do that. And we can see here over on the right-hand side, we've parsed out the function name here, parse namespaces. It's its own markdown cell. And we've still got scrolling active, so we can go through the various lines here. Now, one funny thing is that with a function that takes any number of arguments, you need to actually instantiate the arguments of that function to something to be able to evaluate the rest of the lines. And that's accomplished here in this funny syntax in the Python doc in the doc string of this function here. We just write some Python code, and then we eventually define right here the argument to this function here, this code variable here. And we can do the same thing as we did before. For example, in this namespaces line, we can pop over to the notebook. We can look at this namespaces list here. We can take the length of it. Just do arbitrary stuff with it. So those are the two main features that I wanted to show you in this video. I hope it gives you some idea of what PYNT is capable of, and I hope you're intrigued. Thanks.